Now, pause follows the story of the folding bicycle.
Making the bicycle easier to transport has taxed the ingenuity of designers for a long time. The first portable bikes were designed for military use. Slung on soldiers' backs or loaded into aircraft, they were used in both world wars. The advent of the small-wheeled bike has given a new impetus to designers. Modern portable bikes range from those which simply come apart to those which fold by a variety of ingenious mechanisms.
It was originally a college project at the RCA, and I wanted a project which would combine engineering and industrial design. The idea of a folding bike suited that exactly. I first of all drew out a specification, and that included things like it had to be very cheap to manufacture, it had to fold very quickly, it had to be as simple as possible, it had to be light, and it had to be very easy to use in all ways. I wanted a product which could be used with other forms of transport, to be taken on buses, trains, pudding car boots, and I started to think of what other products do exactly that, and one struck me straight away, and that was the McLaren Baby Buggy. And the key thing about the McLaren Baby Buggy is when it's folded up, it's not actually as small as possible, but it's long and thin, and it's like a walking stick with wheels on the end. I immersed myself in the problem and really tried to think of every possible way of making a structure that could fold up into a long, thin shape. This is where I use the sketching as a sort of dialogue with myself to try and have an idea and then sketch it, then refine it between my head and the sketchbook. Didn't really worry about which ideas were good and which ideas were bad. I just got down as many ideas as possible at this stage to really try and cover the whole of the area. I put them into a matrix of the favourite shapes and configurations of drive and steering and things like that. And it boiled down to basically two shapes, the triangular shape and an X-type configuration. I really wanted to have something which hadn't been done before, because one of the ideas was to patent the design and try and put it into production myself. And so I didn't want to infringe anybody else's patent. And I'd seen an X-frame in a few places before, a Japanese competition, and I hadn't seen a triangle before. A triangle is inherently stiff and is basically just 3 tubes and 3 joints, and so it really stood head and shoulders above the rest. I think all design is a form of compromise. It's not absolutely perfect ergonomically, but bearing in mind its function of being able to fold up very quickly and take onto the tube and places like that, I think the compromise is right.